I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. We have the pleasure of welcoming Esther Olu from Instagram, one of the main influencers out there for cosmetic science. She goes by the handle of the Melanin Chemist. So thanks for joining us to share some insights today, Esther.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me. It's a huge honor.
We just want to get our fingers on the pulse of what's going on out there. And you have quite a following, and I've heard a lot of good things about it from the cosmetic science perspective. So that's why we come to you. We have an issue of a magazine coming up that relates to the trends that are going on in hair, that we keep hearing about skinification and some of the different ingredients that are bond builders, et cetera. But that's obviously from the back end R&D. So I want to see what you're hearing from the front end here, the Instagram side or the social media side from consumers. Could you share some insights?
Yes, of course. I definitely think from last year, one of the big topics was the quote unquote skinification of hair. And I do believe that's a continuing trend. We know that the skin is our largest organ and taking care of it is very essential. And now we see a lot of products that are trying to incorporate skincare ingredients into hair care. And one of the biggest ones that I saw last year was hyaluronic acid, which acts as a humectant. So humectants are ingredients that hold and bind water into our skin. They really help with our skin's natural tendency for water loss and just preventing that. So I definitely saw a lot of videos on TikTok using hyaluronic acid serums on their hair, and they felt that using that made their hair a lot softer and just shinier. And then I saw brands follow suit and starting to incorporate hyaluronic acid into some hair serums. Another thing that I saw was exfoliation. That became a really huge topic. So I saw, for example, The Ordinary. They had a glycolic acid solution, but it's for the skin, and people were starting to use it on their hair and for their scalp. But what we learned from it was that, or just overall, exfoliation definitely helps to speed up desquamation, which is our skin's natural shedding process, and a lot of people noticed that their flaking of their scalp was starting to improve by using exfoliation. And it wasn't just the alpha hydroxy acid. People were starting to use salicylic acid as well. And then we noticed that brands started to follow suit as well. It started to incorporate exfoliating shampoos, exfoliating serums as well. And this definitely helps for possible conditions like dandruff and just overall flakiness.
Any wild videos on the TikTok side of how they're using them? Did they make a big deal out of this is for skin, we're using it in hair? Was there any kind of, on the consumer end, any discussion like that?
A lot of the extreme things, I mainly see it with skin, not so much hair.
Okay. Any other thoughts on maybe different ingredients that you've spotted that have, that are kind of being talked about for hair growth or, preventing hair loss? I've seen a couple of different chats. I think rosemary oil is one that I've seen recently. I don't know.
Yes, definitely. So when it comes to hair growth, hair repair, that's always going to be a very trending topic, and rosemary oil became very popular. I wanted to do TikTok. A lot of influencers were promoting rosemary oil for hair growth, and we know that the most popular prescription is minoxidil, and there have been studies that have compared rosemary oil versus minoxidil. And not everyone can obviously get a prescription, so people try to use rosemary oil for the next best alternative, and they would put it on their hair and massage it into their scalp, and people claim that it's helping with their hair growth. Hair growth is obviously a very complex topic, so but people, it's more anecdotal that people say, oh, my hair grew a lot due to this, or it's thicker, it's stronger. So rosemary oil is trending a lot right now.
So I guess the only other thing that I'm wondering about is, effects. You think about skin health is sort of the discussion, and obviously that is sort of the movement and trying to take the idea of improving skin and improving its health, and then you're taking that into hair. That's the skinification part, right? So is there talk from a health standpoint about hair, and what does that look like to consumers? Is there specific effects that they're talking about that they're really seeking?
So I would say that a lot of it stems from the talk about the microbiome, and obviously that's still a topic that's being researched. Like we don't fully understand like our skin's microbiome. But from what has been discussed is that if our microbiomes are like, disrupted, that can potentially exacerbate conditions that we may experience not only on our skin but on our scalp. So that could lead to dandruff, for example, and some other, scalp conditions. And that's why I believe it's coinciding with the strive for consumers to like look for how can I take care of like my scalp and better care for it. And I think that's also why scalp health is becoming such like a huge topic, and people are looking, for hyaluronic acid, or they're looking for physical exfoliation or chemical exfoliation, and so on and so forth. So I definitely think that all of it kind of like intersects that when you discuss about the microbiome and wanting to take care of like our gut and how that coincides with our skin and now our scalp. So it's kind of intersecting all together.
Is there anything I missed that you want to add?
I mean, I guess like I didn't mention like physical exfoliation too much, but I've been seeing a lot of scalp scrubs come into, and it's really just an alternative to like, chemical exfoliation. It just helps to buff like the dead skin cells, because sometimes we have buildup like on our scalp. So I have been seeing that, and an ingredient that I'd recommend for that is microcrystalline cellulose. As an example. Yeah.
So it sounds like a couple of different approaches to formulations then when it comes to, considering the scalp and the ways to kind of revive everything. I think this has been really insightful. Thank you for sharing some ideas from the social world, and we appreciate your expertise. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for welcoming me.